They went back to Northern Illinois and played a Division I team. Extremely tough score, was very close. Their first opponent was University of Idaho, which Idaho had talking with Coach Akey this week, that was probably Idaho's best performance of the year, and that was their first game. So, you know, he had some tips and pointers. He said obviously not to take them lightly because he thought they were a quality opponent. And as most teams go, if teams can stay healthy into November, you usually get a little bit better. You know, I think that depends a lot on the injuries or lack of injuries, how people finish into the month of November. But again, they played a tough schedule. You know, having to go to Cal Poly and all those things, that's tough on a team. And you know, I watched that game this morning. A lot of similarities with us, a lot. They have some of their key players that are banged up, and they list that they're not practicing some of their quality players, and they've had a couple issues at quarterback, as we have, playing some different people. So there's a lot of look in the mirror type situation this week as we look at North Dakota. It's not every single down, which we're not seeing it every down, but we're seeing a tremendously high percentage of a three-man front, you know, covering the center up. And, you know, that's tougher on Alex Verlanik in some ways, easier in other ways because you know exactly where he's lined up. And, you know, it's a little bit harder to move from a nose position as it is, you know, from a defensive tackle position where you sometimes loop all the way around your end on your stunts and your line games. So it is a situation, though, that we have not faced a whole bunch. So, you know, we're attempting to simulate that in practice. And you know, we've had a couple extra days to prepare for that odd front. They have numerous coverages behind the odd front. So those are things that you have to be very careful of, specifically at, you know, the quarterback position and the running back position for throwing the football and pass protection issues. So it does bring some different types of headaches, if you will. You have to be very, you know, prepared, not only the front but the secondary as well. You know, we'll be healthier than we were at Weber. I think that will help us in every aspect of defensive play. You know, Jimmy Wilson was tremendous against Weber, had as good a game as anybody we've, you know, had playing defense this year. Tremendous game, and that was part of the reason, though, that our defensive line wasn't quite making the stops that they had made throughout this season. So Jimmy had more opportunities to tackle people, which is also a negative. So I think we're going to get Duncan back to being able to play. You know, we thought we were getting him for a few plays down at Weber. We didn't have the opportunity to do that. He wasn't healthy enough. And Waldo played injured, and he played with a lot of courage, but he wasn't the same player he was throughout the course of the fall. So I think he's going to be back to being close to 90, 95%. I think those two issues will help us, those two players getting back in the fold. I think and I believe that the players got some rest, and that was, I think, very, very important. I think it was important for them to get away from the building, to get away from us, and you know, live a little bit of a regular college life, at least for 48 hours or something like that, because we were back at it. We had academic meetings on Sunday night, so they really didn't get a whole bunch of time off, but you know, we wanted them to get off their feet, relax, watch some college games, watch some NFL games, and to take a little bit of a mental break. It was you know, a tough stretch there. I mean, because we kept losing bodies, and not to get them back is very disappointing. But the bye week came fairly late in the season, and ideally, in the perfect world, it would have been 4 games back, and you'd split your season right in half, and you know, your coaching staff would sing Kumbaya and everything would be great. But it's not how it is. You know, it's where it lined up. So hopefully we took advantage of it, and I think we're going to find out more this week as we practice. I think it's great as far as being a student athlete, that part of it, because, you know, when do you study when you're in the Portland airport? You know, when do you study when you're on a bus to Ogden and back? I mean, those are tough scenarios that our players have to overcome, And it's not so unique to this conference. As our conference expands, so do the square miles, and that's, to me, that's an issue. Academics is, I think, going to be an issue when you have longer road trips. So that part of it, I'm very glad we're home. Obviously, with our crowd, I'm very glad we're home. I think the next two opponents, maybe with the exception of 1 or 2 games, this will be the largest crowd they played in front of, and hopefully we can parlay that to our advantage. It's, it was very important to have a few extra days because we again, other than Cal Poly, there was not really a common opponent. So some of the teams that we were seeing them play against, ran some other stuff that we hadn't seen yet. So, and you always look at, what works well from somebody else, and there's no legal rule that you can't copy somebody's offense or tweak yours to match what they had success against. So, every coach is guilty of doing those things, or to their advantage, tweaking their offense. And I think that helps with a bye week. You have a chance to watch, their just about every single game they played, or every situation, every red zone, every 3rd and long, every blitz situation, and you can come out of it with at least mentally being more prepared and putting your players in the right position for success. Our biggest game of the season is North Dakota. There's no question about that. This is after having the bye week, this is our second season. That's how we've divided it, and that's true, I think, no matter where the bye week would have fallen. And that's what we're preaching this week, is this is our second season, and to have a third season, we have to have success in the second season. And yeah, we're backed up into the corner and all that stuff, but that's kind of how our whole season's been. And then unfortunately, maybe you lose a player and someone else has to step forward, but that player knows that we're backed into the corner too. So we expect and demand, excellent performance from whether you're third string or first string. For the thing about North Dakota is they're multi-dimensional. They do many, many different things. They run the pistol. They'll run a 2-back offense. They'll run power I. They'll run an offset I. They'll run spread, and they do multiple things. So our defense has to be prepared, first of all, to get lined up correctly. And I think coming away from the Weber game, I think that's the one thing we would say that the defense needed to improve, especially early in the game. I know we had some new faces in there and those types of things. However, we got lined up late against Weber, and when North Dakota hears that or sees it on video, obviously they're going to try to attack a weakness, and we have to find a way to make our weakness our strength. And so that's what you prepare through practice, and you're thankful you got a couple extra days to iron those things out. But they're multidimensional, do a lot of good things. They played 3 quarterbacks, and all 3 of them have different assets. Oh yeah, we had a great time. We had a lot of fun. It was fun. The young gun scrum is what we called it, and it was fun, and a lot of new faces. We've had quite a few walk-ons, so we're running around trying to. We think we know their names, but seriously, in the sport of football, you have a lot of participants. One school hit, we added close to 20 players, and then again, I'd ask the position coach who that was, and boy, if he didn't know it, he felt he was in trouble by me. And anyway, we turned it into a fun day, and it was a great exchange. There were some great individual plays. Mitch Saylor continues to play well as one of our wide receivers, and hopefully we can keep him in the redshirt mode. And very excited about him. He made some outstanding plays, and quite a few people did.
Well, I think the bye week was very beneficial for us. We've been kind of struck by the injury bug a little bit. We've had a lot of guys banged up and beat up, so the bye week was real beneficial. We got some good work in. We didn't go too hard, so guys had a chance to heal up a little bit, and just a chance to refocus mentally and to get healthy physically and ready to come out 100% or as close to 100% as we can get versus North Dakota. Well, the terrain's always a little bit of an issue at Weber. It's usually wet and moist down there, but that's something that we have to adjust to, and we didn't do that as well as we could have and as well as we wanted to. But it's always good to come back home, and this is the greatest place in the country to play, and we got great support, and it's exciting to be back home for these last 2 games. For us, I think it's more of just going back to our fundamentals, to really focusing in on the little things that we got to do. You know, we prepare each week schematically, and we're ready for whatever they're going to throw at us. But we need to fine tune those little things and just win our individual battles, and you know, play as a whole unit, and we'll be just fine. The offense does a great job every practice of getting us ready for that, and you know, we're gonna be ready for that because we do face it every day, and you know, it's a lot faster in practice, and we'll be ready for that tempo, and you know, like I said, we practice against it every day, and our offense does it really well, and you know, they get to the ball and they get on the line, they get set real quick, and we have to match that tempo, and so we'll be ready for their tempo as well.
The first thing, like Coach said, was, you know, catch up on some rest. You know, we had a long couple bus rides, and you know, especially when you're sore, riding back on the bus takes kind of a toll on your body. So getting some, you know, good rest the first couple days, and then the last weekend also. Second thing is just get a jump start on North Dakota, and just watching film on their defense, and kind of, because it is different. You know, we haven't really seen a true 3-4. We've seen some 3-3 from Western State, but just a little different look for us. So just to hash out some of the protection calls and schemes early, that way we can get to perfecting them this week, and that's kind of what last week was mainly about for me. Well, first of all, the Big Sky Conference Championship has not been won by anybody yet, so we still have the chance. I believe 2 years ago the same thing happened. So we just focus on what we have to do this weekend, beating North Dakota, and that's all we're looking forward to right now. And what happens down the road is what we'll approach when it comes.